Hello everyone, hi, this is Daniela and this is my space on the internet where I talk about my knitting mainly and occasionally some other creative endeavors of mine. I am in Perth, Western Australia, in my sunroom. So forgive the light, it's going to go on and off and change all the time. And also another disclaimer, this is going to be a very unprepared, spontaneous episode for a series of reasons that I'll explain later. First of all, this episode is called The Knitter's Suitcase. If you are new, I want you to know that, well, I'm Italian, I've lived in the UK, I live in Perth now, and I travel to and fro to see family and friends, and wherever I go, I've got wool and needles and projects in my suitcase. So that's where the name comes from. It's the name of this channel. It's my handle on Instagram, Knitter's Suitcase. And it is the name of my little shop that I have on Etsy, where I sell handmade project bags for knitters, crocheters, for all the lovely makers who like to give their project a special sort of home and storage space. You can find me on Ravelry as well as DanyUK. And if you want to get in contact with me, you can use my email address for this channel, which is aknittersuitcase@gmail.com. Okay, so it's been a while. Last time you saw me online was actually not in my home, but in somebody else's home, and particularly I was very generously hosted by Nicole and Guyane, my knitting pals of the Purlfect Pairings podcast, because I went with them to visit the Bendigo wool and sheep or sheep and wool show. We had an amazing time, and after that we recorded an episode together where we talk about our haul and about the beautiful things and yarns and the great people we saw and we met there. So if you haven't seen that episode yet, please go and check their channel. I think now it's probably 2 episodes back, because there are a few news on their channel that I'll talk to you about later. Now I'm back here, I'm back at home. I've been for a few weeks really, but I haven't been online because something new has happened in my life. I have found myself a little job in retail, and it's going to be a casual job that is perfect for me, because I can't give up all my knitting and crafting time, of course. But at the minute, I've been covering for a colleague who is full-time and is on holiday. So I've been working a fair few hours, and that means that my knitting has slowed down, and of course I haven't been able to be here. Even today, I come to you, as you can see, I have no makeup. I'm not wearing a hand knit because, I do own 3 or 4 jumpers that are not hand knit. But basically, it's now or never, because I will be, again, quite busy for the rest of the week. And I really didn't want to, give up this opportunity. I see that the light is pretty terrible, but you'll have to put up with that as well. I really wanted to talk to you all and have a nice chat and catch up. And so, if you are patient with these little problems, I'll be very grateful to you. If not, maybe I'll do better in my next episode. I'm gonna go quite quickly through the various projects, and again, I will probably say a few of wrong informations because I couldn't double check all the details before starting the video. But I'll write down here in the description box below, you find it where a little downwards arrow is, as many details as possible. And yeah, so please double check those. I've got a finished object, but I'm not wearing it, particularly as it's a summer top, and here it's winter at the minute, lovely winter, but still winter. And it's wet. It's wet because I've just bound it off yesterday, and I've blocked it, and I haven't considered that it would take like forever to dry up, particularly as yesterday was very rainy, very wet. So, you know, it's just today when it's starting to, you know, get a bit less wet. And this top is a fabulous pattern, new pattern that I have test knitted for Anna Daku at the Bluebird box, called the Pure Tea. You must have seen it on Instagram already. It hasn't been released. This is going to happen like something like next week, but I'll keep you posted on Instagram if you follow me, or Anna. And it is a lovely, lovely boxy cropped top. It's got a I'll pop up a picture here. I hope I'll manage to wear and photograph my version before publishing this video. Otherwise, I'll pop a photograph of Anna's version. It's got quite a closed neckline, quite a narrow, small neckline that I quite like. And then it's got a lovely construction with a garter panel at the top of the shoulders. And then it's stockinette for the main body, but for a garter band at the bottom. And it's got not sleeves, but again, just a band of garter around the armholes. So it's a drop shoulder construction. I find it a very sort of contemporary and modern look. And I think, you know, it lends itself to be worn in many ways, with jeans, with skirts, with really, you name it. This is the page I created for it. And the yarn is by Lionbrand yarns, and it's called Truboo, which is 100% rayon from bamboo. It's knitted at sort of DK gauge, and I knitted size 3 on 3.5 millimeter needles. It was a bit of an adventurous idea using Truboo because if you've used it before, the bamboo fiber is extremely stretchy and it does grow so much with blocking and washing. So it was a good idea for me to swatch this time. And actually my swatch grew from, I think it grew from 26 stitches per 10 centimeters to 20 stitches, which was the recommended gauge after blocking. So you can see it's considerable. And this brought me to also do a midway blocking session. So basically I knitted, because it's top down, so you start with the neck and you increase for the front, the back neck, and you increase for the front sort of neckline, and then you join the two parts here, and then you knit flat until you reach the desired sleeve length, armhole length, and then you join in the round. So before joining in the round, I did a partial blocking because I wanted to make sure I was, you know, on track, and I was. And then I finished it And well, you know me, I'm mischievous with my knitting. So basically the other testers who were ahead of me commented on the Slack channel where Anna ran the test, that they were finding the arm bands basically somehow a bit too tight if knitted with a smaller size needle as the initial pattern recommended. But I thought, so Anna basically said, okay, knit them in with a bigger size needle, not the smaller size. But you know me, I always need to go my way. So basically I decided to knit the first one with the smaller needles, because I thought, oh, this is a stretchy yarn. It will be it will need some sort of structure. It's better if I use smaller needles. And it wasn't. I didn't like the effect because the fabric from the shoulder was sort of bulging around the armband. So I undid that. I did them with the bigger needles, and that is, I think, how the directions will be in the final pattern. Now I'm really happy, but I will have to give you all the details in my Ravelry project page that isn't existing yet, because I normally do it when I've been able to weigh the finished garment and measure it to give you all the correct informations. It is supposed to be worn with 30 centimeters positive ease, and I think I've achieved that. So I was going for a size 2, which is 120 for a 90 centimeters bust. And the length, I think my length is spot on with what Anna prescribed in the pattern. I think it's okay in terms of length to what my preference is when I come to wearing it. But again, as the yarn is so, let's say, unreliable, I need to double check and let you know at the end. But the pattern is lovely. It would be a really quick knit. It took me a month from the 8th of July to the 7th of August, but it isn't, a problem related with the pattern. It would be very quick. It's just I've had the littlest knitting time, and I have had to do these, adjustments along the way due to the yarn I was using. If you want to know the color, it is a really pretty color. It's color number 108L, which is Seafoam. So keep checking my Instagram for photos of the finished object, and hopefully there'll be one here or have been one here. Okay. From one test knitting to another, because the project I am focusing on now, and it's staying in this bigger tote that I have made for myself, and hopefully I'll manage to make for the shop as well at some point, is a project that I'm test knitting for Annina of the DanyUK Knit podcast that I have recommended in the past, and I absolutely invite you to check. Again, both Annina and Anna Daku of the Bluebirds Box channel are designers, and I love that, to watch designers who podcast, because I really get an insight in their creative process, and I have also early news of new patterns coming out, which is always exciting. So Annina from Finland has been, has had quite a bit of space on on the community social medias, thanks to very successful recent patterns. One of these is the Tankar tea that you have seen already, I suppose. This is the Tankar tea. There has been also a knit along. I think it's still going on. But the pattern I'm testing for her is actually the sweater version of the Tankar tee. So the Tankar sweater, which has got the signature band of ribbing across the shoulder. It's a drop shoulder again, and then again a garter panel immediately after that. So you may be fooled to believe that it's similar to the tee I've just mentioned before, but the construction is totally different, and that's what I like. I think at the moment construction is probably one of my favorite, aspects that I want to explore in terms of my knits. And well, this is what I have been doing so far. So this is the back. You can see maybe here it's better. You can see the ribbing, the band that goes all along the sort of shoulder line. And then this is my garter panel. And now what I have done, I have stopped at the end of the garter panel, and I have now picked up stitches on the sleeves to do the neckband and the front part of the jumper, okay? The yarn I am using is this one, Fibra Natura Papyrus, okay, that was upside down. This yarn I have had in my stash for some time. It is 78% cotton and 22% silk, but as you can see, it is not a sort of shiny silk. It's more like silk slab, let's say. And the yarn itself is very, very soft, and it reminds you of wool in terms of its, the textile experience, rather than cotton, that sometimes can be a bit like dry and not quite soft. What's happened is that as I've got only how many? I think I've got 300 grams of this yarn, and the jumper requires, I think, about 480 grams for my size, which is size 3. I'll show you the page that I've started on my journal. So that's the label, that's a little schematic. It's misspelled, unfortunately. Sorry, Annina. It's Tankar with only one A. I'll need to correct that. And the test knit is due by the 17th of September. So what's happened with me is that I cast on quite early on, well, quite some time ago, on the 22nd of July. But then, as I have already said, my knitting time was drastically reduced, and I wanted to concentrate on the one thing at a time. So I've abandoned it until yesterday. And yesterday I have finally resumed it, and I'm super excited to go on with this, because I think it'll be a sweater that I will wear so much. Now, let's go in a bit of an orderly way. I told you I need 480 grams of yarn, and I haven't got enough. So what I'm planning to do is buying some white Fibra Natura Papyrus and do, well, not quite stripe, it's more color blocks. So what I would like to do is do stripes on the body, color blocks, probably no more than 3 different, white, blue, white, and then do the ribbing in blue again. And then theoretically, I'd like to do the sleeves with no white, no stripes, but I'll have to play with my colors, which is, I know, it's my usual issue. I don't plan things, in an easy way. Sorry if you hear some noises, but the neighbors are having works done. But I'm quite thrilled to have to sort of challenge my creativity to adjust what I can obtain with different yarn quantities. And I have a vision for this jumper that I will definitely try and achieve. In terms of other modifications, because the color blocking already is one, though it's been suggested to me, inspired to me by Annina herself, who did a striped version of the Tankar tee for her stepdaughter, and it was really cute. So another modification that I'm thinking I'll do is shortening the sleeves a bit. The sleeves that have also a cute detail of like a full seam running down. In her photograph, sample photograph, are quite long, while of course it's also a problem of yarn chicken, but in general I'd prefer to have like maybe 3/4 or bracelet length. Also because I can see me wear these jumpers so much, and very long sleeves are not practical, for someone like me who's forever crafting, forever cooking, working around the house, and I really want to use my sweaters, as much as I can. So I think I'll shorten the sleeves. Yeah. Now, the other testers have been much quicker than me, I must say, most of them, because of course, they haven't had my instructions, and most of their tops are woolen ones. And actually, Annina is sort of presenting this jumper as a winter jumper. We are down under, seasons are, work in an opposite way to what's happening in Finland, where Annina is. And so I've decided to go for this fiber because I want this to be a great piece for my spring wardrobe. Okay, so stay tuned, and hopefully you'll see this one as a finished object really soon. Great. So item number 2 is done. I have another work in progress whose destiny is a bit unsure. Here it is. If you've seen previous episodes, you know what I'm keeping in this bag of mine. And it is my Steven West sock. I'm not doing any sort of hiding of this bit of recording, because nowadays the Kali is over. People have finished knitting it. And so I'm not sort of hiding this section or marking this section of the video. This is how far I've gone on my first sock. So I did the cuff, I did this stitch that was really nice and fun. Then this sort of corrugated basket weaving section happened. And I don't like it. I just think Steven really wants to throw everything at it. He wants to surprise people with things they are not expecting, and I can understand it's his style, but it feels like a bit too much to me at the moment. I'm loving the heel, I'm not excited about the rest of the sock, about how the foot comes along after this bit. So to be honest with you, when I grabbed this bag to show you, because as you can imagine, I haven't been knitting on this one for long now, I thought, okay, I'll tell everyone that I'm ripping it back. And I'm still tempted to rip it back to this stage and just do a shorter sock, also because I don't really use very long socks, and just go straight to this section and make it like that, as my friend Christine did in my British knitting group. And I think hers look exactly how I'd like mine to be. Now, anyway, you know, looking at it, it's quite cute. This bit is quite cute. So your friends have inspired me to, you know, think again, and maybe, you know, not always is lost, not everything is lost for it. I was getting really, not upset, but a bit discouraged, because this is the third make-along, surprise make-along, knit-along I've done. And both the previous one were shawls and they failed. And so I thought, oh no, I really want to do the socks, so I'll be ready for the shawl, for Stephen West's shawl, knitted mystery knit along in October. And now with these going, you know, in the naughty corner, I got a bit discouraged and started thinking I'll never manage to do a mystery knit along. I don't know. I'll let you know. Future projects, because there is a cast on that's going to happen very, very soon. And this is for an initiative that my friends at Purlfect Pairings podcast have put together with another two super creative and talented ladies, who are Susanna Kartinen of the Sana & Co design brand, and Karina of the Louis and Lola hand dyed brand, Endeavor. I mean, I've spoken of Susanna so much in the past, so you can see my previous episodes. I've done a shawl for her, the Claire in Paris, which was a test knit, and I've loved it so much. I've met her at Bendigo. She's so talented and such a lovely human being. And Karina I've met in person as well at Bendigo, and she's a massive source of inspiration as well. Her yarn is beautiful, beautiful. She's dyed some sets, in particular for the EXP sweater, which is one of the sweaters that will be part of the knit along, because how it works is that you are invited to knit any of the 4 sweater jumper designs that Susanna has released so far. I don't remember now the 4 names, but if you go back to the Purlfect Pairings podcast channel, you'll see my friends have got a special episode where they tell you everything about these knit along. It starts on Saturday the 12th of August until the 30th of November, so you've got plenty of time to complete the jumper. The hashtag is Sana Sweater Cal on Instagram, and they have also created a Facebook group where all the participants can ask to be part of. And Susanna is there posting, you know, like tips and tricks and suggestions, and you can see what some people have chosen in terms of yarns for for their jumper from various dyers, some of them from Karina because of the Louis and Lola, because to be honest, her sets were just amazing. She did some with for the EXP in particular, the one I'm doing too. I've spoken of it in previous episodes, but I'll add a photo here again. You need two colors, a main and a contrast color. So she's done sets where the main is a tonal and the contrast color is a variegated, or you can have a fade. So rather than a single skein, you have like mini skeins with colors, changing throughout the jumper. So it's beautiful. I'm not saying much more because I'll speak of it when I will, in the next episode when I'll be working on it. And yes, what I'll do first is swatching. Because again, I don't like it. I don't like swatching, but this jumper is really, something I'm dreaming of, and I want to make sure I'm getting it right. I'll do, little swatch, not like my friend Gayan, who's done like a jumper size swatch, but I'll do it now before Saturday, and then I'll cast on Saturday. And if you are so inclined, you can see me. Hopefully, I'll manage to stay true to these, promise. You'll see me on the Zoom custom party that these lovely ladies have announced and will happen on Sunday the 13th. I'm not telling you the time because I get confused all the time. About what time is in Melbourne, what time is here, what time is in Europe. It's a mess for me. So check their Instagram, check their podcast, and you'll see all the updates there. Brilliant. So that's very exciting. Something very exciting coming on. Thanks so much to all the lovely people who have visited my shop. Have browsed my hand-sewn project bags. I've got just 2 samples here. This is something that I really enjoy at the minute, these little and cute cat faces. This is just the perfect bag for a cat lady, knit and cats lady. Anyway, there's a little bit of assortment at the moment, not much, because luckily I have, shipped quite a few of them to some keen and lovely customers. I have had lovely reviews that make me very, very happy. And what I actually did before starting recording on my only day off this week that was supposed to be devoted to doing some cleaning and making my house presentable, I have actually just gone to the fabric shop and bought some more fabrics. I have some custom orders to sew, and those will come first, and then after that it'll be having some fun with these new fabrics, and at some point I will also hoover and dust and put away the laundry. But life is too short. Let's enjoy the creativity more, and the rest will come. So yes, thanks so much for all the customers of my shop, for all the lovely friends I've made through it. Some of you really are now, very close to my heart. I don't want to mention anybody, but those people know. And go and check it if you haven't yet. It's a knitted suitcase on Etsy, and the link will be below, down here. Then I've got a bit of an unusual segment to do this time, which is a goodbye to the sweater. And now I'll explain why. So I'm saying goodbye to this cute jumper that I have made for my daughter. This was 3 years ago. It was during the first COVID lockdown. And I had just sort of picked up knitting again after many years. And I was absolutely inspired by these hand-dyed DK wool that I found on Etsy. As you can see, it's, periwinkle color. And I must have mentioned it before. This was the color of my wedding dress, just to let you know how much I love this color. And I love this one even more because it's got like the small specks of like a bit of a tweedy sort of version. There's yellow, there's red, there's a little bit of blue. So this was a fantastic yarn. It was just a skein. I think I remember the dye had only one skein. And I had this white yarn, which is Drop Charisma, I think. So I decided to make my daughter a stripy jumper. I wasn't sure what to do about the neckline, so I used this yellow. This is Drops Cotton Merino in yellow. I had a leftover to do like a provisional cast on. And then I sort of self-drafted this one. I made it up along the way, and I ended up, there's also a little bit of paint here from my daughter, doing her crafts. And what I ended up doing was sort of growing fonder and fonder of the yellow line at the neck. So I mimicked it. Well, I purposely made it also at the sleeves. They are probably elbow length sleeve, because that was all the yarn I had, really. And then I added it to the bottom. And then I wanted to do something really fun and special for her, and also challenge my knitting skills with something I had never done before, which was a pocket. 2 pockets. So I ended up adding these fun little pockets that actually are quite special because they contain some special messages. So technically, what did I do? I basically, on the change from white to periwinkle here, I did what you do when you make like a peasant heel, a peasant heel in a sock. That is, you drop the yarn, the main yarn you're working with, you grab a piece of scrap yarn, and you knit as many stitches as you want the opening of the pocket to be. Then you drop the scrap yarn, and you slide the stitches back to the front of the needle, and you re-knit the same stitches that you have done in scrap yarn with your main yarn. So what happens once that section is completed, you can pull away, undo the scrap yarn, and you find yourself with live stitches both on the on the side of the pocket and here inside on the sort of front of the jumper. You put them back on your needles, and what I did here was make a bit of a special, more fluff on it, a bit of a special pocket lining for my daughter with some very special messages. So I did a little bit of like color work inside the pocket, And then on this other side, so that she could read it when I did it upside down, so that she could read it when and see it when she was wearing the jumper, I embroidered in this one a little heart. No, I think it's color work as well, this heart. Yeah, it's color work, I think. Not the the most perfectly done, but it gives you an idea. And this is what's happening in this pocket. The other pocket, now I did something similar but different. So again, you've got this little bit of color work, but if you look at the inside upside down, you've got a little message from Mom. I love you. So yeah, I'm so fond of this jumper. I love it so much. I really, put all my creativity and all my love for my little girl in this jumper, and I like the touch about it, being hidden, a hidden message for her that she could sort of, touch with her hands in her pockets whenever she wanted to feel my love, during her day. So I've loved it so much, and she has worn it a lot, always with sort of like, a long sleeve t-shirt underneath because of those long sleeves, but it's super warm, and I think it still looks quite nice and in great shape. So I am sort of a little bit unsure now about what destiny I should give to this jumper. I have in the past, and even now, I give away a lot of her clothes to friends who've got younger girls, or around here I just donate them on a local Facebook group where people are very generous and exchange, items they don't need anymore. But I'm a bit jealous about this one, and I haven't got, at the moment, I can't think of anyone I know who's got a little girl who could wear it. So I don't know. I'll have to think. Well, let me know. Maybe among you, there may be somebody who's got a little girl, grandchild, or a daughter, or somebody who you think will appreciate it, and somebody who can also look after it, because it's 100% wool, so it's not, something you can just throw in the washer. Let me know. I think, it deserves to be passed into the hands of somebody who can look after it and appreciate it. Okay? The very, very last thing, and here I may have to, oh no, I don't need to bend down. I've got them here. Well, we have been delighted to host for the last 2 weeks a friend coming from Italy, a friend of, actually, I may say, I've known her forever, at least since I've known my husband, but she is originally a friend of my sister-in-law because she used to go to school with her. And anyway, she stayed with us. She's the loveliest friend, and we enjoyed that so much. But of course, as she was coming from Italy, family sent over some lovely presents. And my mother-in-law, thank you, sending lots of kisses, sent me this gorgeous present. So these are 2 skeins, 2 bowls actually, of this Italian-made commercial yarn. Mondial is the brand, and the name of the yarn is Venice, and it is quite an unusual yarn. It is 55% cotton, 20% viscose, 15% microfiber, and 10% linen. It is a DK weight yarn with a, I don't know if you can see it, it's a chainette construction, and quite a bit of variegation in the color. And the fun thing is that not only the color changes, but these fibers that I've just mentioned to you, you can appreciate the difference in the various segments of the yarn, where the I suppose microfiber and viscose are. It's like silky and shiny, where the cotton and the linen are, it's more matte, has got a more matte finish. So I'm really intrigued and curious to see how these will knit up. I'm thinking to make a Tolsta tee by the Crea Bear with some cotton bamboo DK yarn in this sort of pink, bit like this pink color that I already have. So I'm thinking of stripes again, or depending on how much I'll use to get out of these balls, I could probably do rather like a big sort of stripe around the yoke and do the rest in the one color. I'm not sure about it yet, but I'm intrigued to try it, and and I can't wait to see how it looks when it's knitted up. I think now I've told you everything I wanted to tell you. I feel so much better for having managed to catch up with you, and I look forward to reading all your comments. Thanks so much for, now the birds are flashing by in the garden. Apologies for all the disruption, the bad lighting, for my, very, very sort of maybe even a bit tired looking face. Forgive me, this is my place of freedom. I turn up as I want to, I say what I want to, and hopefully you'll bear with me. Please like if you enjoyed it, subscribe, spread the word with your friends and fellow knitters, and thanks so much for being here for me, and for all your messages on the podcast and on my Instagram, and for for just being so nice and friendly to me. It fills my heart with joy. Have a fantastic day. Lots of love. Happy knitting. Bye.